What's up, fellow geeks? Match here, and welcome to the Geekiness channel. I'll be coming to you with comic book story news, so you can stay up to date. It's the third week of May in 2017, and here's what's happening now. A Batman, Flash, Watchmen crossover. Also, Captain America looks to make things right, but for Hydra. You heard it right. Please join me as we go to Planet Geek and stay tuned for more. Thanks guys for joining me. I'll be coming to you regularly to update you on comic book story news. Not the news about the artists or the writers or who makes these comics, but rather what happens in the stories, so that way you guys can stay up to date in the comic book world. So stay tuned. My name is Match. My real name is Ben McCarthy. I am also a writer, so check me out at benpmc.com. Check out some of my work there. Also, thank you guys so much for tuning into the Geekiness channel. Please subscribe. Alright, let's get started. So it's been a pretty exciting time in comics at the moment, where DC is readying themselves for a pretty big event coming up called Dark Days, the New Forge. Also, Marvel is going through their big event, which we'll be touching on shortly. First though, I'd like to touch on the Teen Titans story, The Lazarus Contract. As you guys can see, the very first of the actual story has just recently came out last week. So we should be having a follow-up. I believe it's a 4-part series, and it's a crossover series, so you'll have something where it's the Titans, the Teen Titans, and also Deathstroke. So the Lazarus Contract has pretty good timing, and Marvel and DC both do this pretty well, where they time them out with their media releases. So this is a pretty good follow-up to the Judas Contract, which, by the way, if you haven't seen that, check it out. This is really cool. Lots of cool fight scenes with Deathstroke in it. It has a very explosive beginning too. So the Judas Contract, of course, is all about somebody invading the Teen Titans and then turning on them, actually, with Deathstroke being involved, as they have a contract out on their head. So it's a very, very good movie. Check it out. Like I said, good timing with the Teen Titans Lazarus Contract story. Here's what's going on with the story, guys. Alright, Deathstroke is back against the Teen Titans again, and he blames them for the death of his son, Grant Wilson, or aka the Ravager. He ends up actually having to kidnap Wally West, because he wants Wally to go back in time and make things right, save his son. And if he does this, guys, then he promises to never kill anybody again. So let's check out some of that footage from the Judas Contract, guys. Get you guys pumped for some more Deathstroke fight scenes. It's going to be pretty cool.
Improves muscle tone too. edge. Your friends have made you soft. You're overrated, kid.
Hey guys, it looks pretty darn cool. Check out the movie. Once again, that's the Teen Titans Judas Contract. Also, follow it up with Titans number 11, the very first of the Lazarus Contract. Okay, moving on. I know you guys have all been waiting for this one. So, the Batman, Flash, and possible Watchmen crossover. Okay, so this is a crossover event that's happening in DC called The Button. And basically what happens is, drawing back from the Rebirth event, Wally West was lost in the Speed Force and nobody had remembered him. Supposedly this hidden figure, this mysterious figure, took 10 years away from everybody on Earth and all the heroes, and nobody had remembered who Wally West was. He desperately was looking around trying to find somebody to remember him so he could come back to this timeline and escape the Speed Force, guys. So he appeared to several people, Batman being one of them in his Batcave, and finally gets Barry Allen to remember and gets pulled out of the Speed Force, initiating everything and kicking off the whole Rebirth series. However, at the end, Batman finds this button. Very similar button. Yes, that's right, guys, that is the button from Watchmen. I know we've all been kind of waiting for this whole thing to play out. It's been about a year now coming up since the Rebirth event, so we've all been kind of saying, what's going on with that button? Really no mention to it until now. So the first one starts in Batman number 21, the very first of the Button series, and Batman is examining the button one day in his Batcave, and it actually reacts with the Psycho Pirate's mask. And because of this, suddenly Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, shows up in the Batcave and just beats the snot out of Batman. I mean, seriously, kicks his butt. However, towards the end of the fight, he finds the button and he decides that he's going to take the button and he's going to go through the Speed Force and find the source of its power. When he shows up, he's half fried and completely dead. I mean, absolutely dead. Flash being a little bit relieved that he's dead, but at the same time, being the hero he is, feels a little bit ashamed for being happy with his death. However, the Flash and Batman do decide to investigate, and this comes in, guys, at the Flash number 21, which is part 2. It's a crossover event. The Flash and Batman decide to investigate. They need to travel through the Speed Force to figure out what's going on with the button, guys, and all of a sudden they jump into the Speed Force and everything is messed up. Everything's wrong. And somehow they land in the world of Flashpoint, which should have been destroyed when Barry reset the timeline. However, this also puts Batman face to face with Thomas Wayne, his father, who took on the mantle of Batman in the Flashpoint world. So, interesting dynamic there. Finally gets to meet his father, kind of a broody type of guy. Very, very good so far. However, there have been no Watchmen that have shown up in the series. It goes all the way to the end of this where Batman and the Flash are escaping. The Flashpoint world is being destroyed. This mysterious figure has held on to this world. And they actually run into Eobard Thawne, who is racing against time with the button in his hand. So, we've got one more to go. It's going to be the Flash number 22. I believe it comes out this week, so keep your eye out for that. Should be an interesting thing. Not sure if they're actually going to bring a character from Watchmen into this. Moving on. Like I said before, this has possibly been one of the most controversial comic books that have come out in a long time, guys. And of course, I'm talking about Secret Empire. Boom. Free Comic Book Day, Secret Empire. And Secret Empire number 1. It's been a pretty crazy series. Interesting to have Captain America actually become a bad guy. It was revealed about a year ago. Captain America actually has been a sleeper agent for Hydra all this time, just pretending to be good. Mr. Boy Scout himself, I know. Supposedly Hydra had actually approached him when he was a young kid and actually got him to join forces. So years have passed. The Allies supposedly in World War II made us believe that the Allies actually won, when in actuality the Nazis won. So fast forward to this time, Captain America suddenly remembers that he's actually an agent for Hydra, and now he actually controls S.H.I.E.L.D. So he does a planned attack in number 0. He plans an attack on 3 different places, one being in space, one being in New York, and the other being halfway across the world. So what ends up happening is the heroes kind of get divided. The strongest heroes go out in space. Iron Man and Iron Woman enact a shield around the Earth and trap these heroes out there. So he's now successfully segregated all the heroes into different parts, and now it's his time to react. So he turns the nation into basically a Nazi fascist style nation. This is that free comic book day issue that everybody supposedly was burning. I guess people felt like it may be Nazi propaganda, or just couldn't deal with the fact that Captain America was a bad guy. So I think I remember another group in history that burned books too, but can't think of who they are now. But that's okay. Do what you will. Don't burn it, guys. It's still just a story. An interesting take. I think it's Marvel's way to try to get readers back engaged. So that brings us to Secret Empire number 1, where it really truly begins. You have people living in New York in this dystopian, fascist, Nazi style of country. Teachers teaching corrected history about how the Germans actually won the war, but the Allies tricked us into believing differently. Captain America has a team together that he controls. Surprisingly, Deadpool is one of those. Wouldn't think about that, but they're part of his team. And then you have several other heroes that have just gone to an underground movement, trying to desperately take back their country. So pretty interesting beginning to it. It seems all hope is lost except for one kid who has a hard drive that is supposedly going to change the face of this whole war that's going on. So interesting. Check it out, guys. It's definitely worth the read. Not sure if people are going to be super happy with it, but that's okay. Check it out. Captain America's bad guy. Sorry. Alright, time for the indie pick of the week. Now, this could hardly be considered indie, just considering that Scott Snyder is the writer of this. But AD After Death Book 3 just came out last week. If you haven't had a chance to check this out, check it out, guys. It's a different style of telling a comic book. There's a lot of writing into it. The art is totally different than what you're used to, but the story is just so good. It follows a kleptomaniac, actually, in a futuristic type world where death no longer affects us. We've actually learned to live on forever. How? Don't know yet. But this is the third and final book, guys. There's 3 books in the series. It's kind of a graphic novel slash comic book, if you will. Really, really cool. Love Scott Snyder. Jeff Lemire is actually the artist for this. Very, very cool style. Very different. I'll show some clips of that as well. So check it out. That is my indie pick of the week. If you could consider that indie, I suppose I could, considering it's not really done by a major publisher. At least I don't. Alright, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the comic book story news. Once again, my name is Match. My real name is Ben McCarthy. I'm also a writer. If you want to check out benpmc.com, check it out. Thank you so much for tuning into the Geekiness channel for Planet Geek, where you can get all your up-to-date geek news. Stay tuned for more. We don't do just comics. We also do cosplay, tips and tricks. we'll do gaming. So we have several hosts. Stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much. Please subscribe if you like this video and watch for more. Thanks.